Hey YouTube, it's just Brandy, and let's talk Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. So, last night's episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta took a left turn from where the previous episode ended. It ended at the altercation between Sierra and Tokyo Vanity, but we didn't see them at all this episode. So, this episode focused on Scrappy and Bambi and their mother issues, where Mama D had taken Brandy's mother to the Motel 6. So she calls Brandy on the phone and tells her, you need to come pick me up. I'm at the Motel 6. Well, the thing about it is, in this day and age, you don't need to ever call anybody to come pick you up from anywhere, because you can Uber everywhere. So you could have just called Uber, you could have just called Lyft or whatever. So Scrappy ends up going to get a new home. I guess he goes to rent a new home, and the mothers supposedly apologize to each other and squash the beef. But then when Scrappy takes everybody to the new home, Brandy is excited because she gets to move out from staying with Mama D, but then Mama D gets very upset. So it's so weird. It just screams storyline. Brandy indicated that her and her mother have had a kind of strained relationship ever since her father died 15 years ago. She said her mother has basically been a different person, and she's just not been very motherly ever since the passing of her father, which, like I said, was 15 years ago. So they have some issues that they need to work through, but I guess they're all hoping that this baby can help bring everything together. We saw Jacques and Carly Red. Jacques evidently has a radio show in Atlanta, and he had Carly Red as a guest, and they were talking. He congratulated her on her engagement, and she, on the radio, invited him to the engagement party. And then he asked her about some sexual act, if she had performed that sexual act on her fiance that she had performed on him. She said that she wanted to be like a sex therapist or a sex doctor or something, so she's trying to be that or whatever. So she was saying, that her and Jacques, even though that they used to date, that they, are still cool or whatever. They know what it is. They can put the relationship to the side and still get to the bag. So fast forward to Carly meeting with her fiance Mo, and he's like, you invited your ex to our engagement party, and she was saying she doesn't have any, she doesn't withhold anything from him, she tells him everything or whatever. So but he has an issue, with the whole, you invited Jacques to, the engagement party or whatever. So I don't know how that's going to shake out. Then we have her also telling him about how she met with the friend, and the friend was saying that Carly had did a threesome with her husband, whatever. So Jacques also is in a relationship, surprise. He keeps one on, he keeps multiples on the back burner, so who knows. So he's in this new relationship with this chick. She's an attorney. He says she's trying to become a judge, but she's a citizenship attorney, I think he said. Which is always so crazy to me that these women with these high power jobs would choose these guys that don't seem to be on their level. And as fragile as the male ego is, it's just weird. the circle of attorney and judge and him seems so different. Like, you trying to be a judge. When you want to be a judge, you have to run for office. Like, it's political. So you have to associate yourself with people that you know are not going to cause an issue for you. So you want to marry this man with all these baby mamas and all of that, and you think that your judgment, is not going to come into question, and people won't use that against you. Like, maybe Atlanta is different because there's so many black people that they will see her with an entertainer as a positive thing, versus a negative thing. I don't know, but that just doesn't seem like, if that's the lane that you're in and that's what you're trying to attain, like that level of success in that field, that's somebody that you would want to associate yourself with. But basically, he's seeing her, but he's not seeing her in public. Like, they're dating, but they're not dating in public. He's not claiming her. So she's like basically trying to get him to take her to a public event so they can be seen together, so everybody can know that they are together. And he's kind of like, no, I really don't want to do it. I don't know, what his real reasoning behind this. But she's like, oh, I heard on the radio that your ex invited you to her engagement party. That's the perfect place for us to go together so everybody can know that, it's us. So basically, that is what happened this episode. That's the major things. Nothing big, just a episode to move forward. They also did a thing with Scrap and his baby mama, who is so in love, who's been waiting for him to get out of jail, but she wasn't waiting too tough because she got married and had a baby during the time that he was in jail. But yet you was talking to him. Y'all had planned. I don't know why these hoes still ain't figured out that what these niggas say when they in jail, and these letters and these phone calls when they bored as fuck, is not the same energy they be having when they come out. So his mama done hooked him up with Moniece. So he all about her, niggas love some new. So when it's new, they gonna put the old on the back burner because they figure, the old gonna always be there. So they want to focus on the new. So he all about Moniece. He ain't trying to see, Tierra, and she got a whole life plan. Like, this chick, I think, already had 4 kids before Scrap went to jail. She was pregnant again, so this baby number 5, and she talking about she want to be pregnant. So she throws him a halfway home party because he living in halfway house. So she throws him a halfway home party, and he gets a phone call from Moniece because she finds out that Tierra's throwing this party. So she pulls up to the party. Scrap leaves with her. First of all, I thought that he said he can only be 2 places: his mama house or his sister house, or otherwise he got to be back at the halfway house. So where you and Moniece go? I guess she just drove you back to the halfway house and y'all sat outside. Like, what? I don't understand, because you ain't allowed to go nowhere. So he leaves the party. He don't say nothing to nobody. He gets the phone call from Moniece, like, I'm outside, and he goes outside, and she like, oh, you didn't tell me, like, yo, baby mama's throwing you this party. Like, he like, we just cool. Now he knows good and well that they ain't just cool. This girl's telling him, like, here go the key to my house, like, I'm trying to have a baby. And he, instead of him explicitly just saying to her, like, no, it's not, like, I'm not feeling like that, no, he like, oh, yeah, what's up, trying to stay cool. I guess, trying not to piss her off, but he's really leading her on. So he has a conversation with her mother, and that's what KK said. And KK is right. You need to stop leading these girls on. Say what it is. Of course, she likes Moniece. She's the one that even hooks her up with him, which is so crazy to me, that you would meet somebody's mother and they would be like, oh, I like you. I think you'd be nice for my son who's in prison. Can I give him your number to call you? Because you sure can't call him because he's locked up in the federal penitentiary. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, because he look not... I don't care what he looks like. Your son is in jail right now. Like, no, thank you. And if you really cared for me as a person and we was cool, you wouldn't want jail for me regardless if it's your son or anybody else's son. Why would you want me to be talking to somebody that's locked up? Like, that's not the... Like, okay. even worse, she lives in whole California. He lives in Atlanta. That's different sides of the country. So what, y'all gonna have a long distance situation? Moniece has no business in Atlanta. She has no reason to be in Atlanta besides the fact that she's on this show and she's getting paid. Because like you live whole in California and you're not gonna leave because your father has full custody of your child. So if you go to Atlanta, you won't never see your son. So like, this is for, once again, no storyline, had to create one. This is for the show. So Tierra meets up with Scrap the next time that he is over his sister's house. Tierra pops up and she like, I threw you a whole party and you just left. Like, what's up? Oh, it must be a new bitch. Like, we've been here before. It must be a new bitch. So she like, so who is it? He like Moniece. She like Moniece who? Slaughter. She goes crazy. She ends up putting her hands on this man. Now, this is crazy. They had to put her out. Now, this is crazy. This man is not on parole. This man is in the halfway house trying to get out of jail. And you gonna put your hands on him? If he would have put his hands back on her, he would have been right back in jail serving all that time. That man got a 20-year sentence where he had to serve 5 years and he's going to be on parole for 15 years. He can't do shit for 15 years and you got a son by him. And the fact that you would put your hands on him and jeopardize him having to go back in jail, and this is going to be on TV. That's dangerous. So now, if I was him, she couldn't be around me at all. We would have to figure out as far as how to switch the son back and forth, but she could not be around me because you trying to jeopardize my livelihood. And then it's a bitch like that that'll call the police and be like, oh, he hit me. You know what I'm saying? But she real reckless. See, it's bitches like that. You want to slap a nigga and then you want somebody to have sympathy when they slap your ass back. Because see, if a nigga hit you first and you fight back, that's self-defense. So a woman hit you first and you hit her ass back to get her back, that's self-defense. And I don't care what nobody say. People try to say men shouldn't put their hands on women. No, women shouldn't put their hands on men and antagonize somebody to hit their ass the fuck back. So I don't usually they put the little thing up like domestic violence hotline and and all of that, because just because she a female, you don't need to be smacking nobody and hitting nobody or whatever. He was like, damn, my guard was down. Like, he wasn't expecting that. He was like, shit, I should have been on ready because she got one off. Like, I should have been able to stop that. But if he would have even stopped it, if he would have put his hands up and blocked it, if he would have grabbed her arm, like, how that could have been perceived crazy. And so it was best that he just let her get it off and let security come in and take her away, because like I said, he can go back to jail. So anyway, so now it's the whole, Moniece situation or whatever. Now she's aware. So I don't know where this storyline is going to go from here. I do know that Moniece is back in California. So I don't know what that means for her and Scrap, because the whole lives in California. But anyway, that's this episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. I will see you next week for my next one.